Welcome to Get Moving TV. I'm Dr. Doc Landon and I serve as your host. One of the joys of being in Ventura County is really interacting with all the nonprofits that we have here in this county. We have Interface and 411. We've got Landon Pediatric Foundation. Up in Santa Barbara, we have a foundation, the Rhythmic Arts Project, that I heard about that helps children and adults with Down syndrome, disabilities, and we've really been working with Eddie Tuduri. To do all this, it costs money, and so we really need for you to donate, but the people who we're going to be talking to tonight, who are going to be in this chair, are the ones who have devoted their time, their energy. It's love and service. So, you know, you don't think of yourself as a rock and roll axeman and that they have a big heart, but we're going to talk to one of them who's on 29 different boards, giving his time constantly for nonprofits because they know where the heart is. We're going to try and get Ben in the chair. Ben is a young man with autism, and when kids graduate from the schools in Ventura County at age 21 or 22, there's nothing for them to do. They can go home, play zombie games all day, and what we've done is really brought him on board as a teacher's aide, and now in the school he's almost teaching the entire course. The Rhythmic Arts Project is all about using rhythm, using the djembe drum, but not as a drum circle, but to really get an idea about laterality, side to side, up and down, social interaction, so that we're looking eye to eye and really engaging someone. And we do this in Syria, we do this in Honduras, we do this in Ecuador, and we do it in Ventura County, in Santa Barbara County, in Bakersfield County. PathPoint has been a great partner in all this. So we're going to watch some concert and talk to some guests.
But if we are wise, we all that there's always tomorrow. Sing it. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on.
I'm here with Ben. Ben has really been the pride of our program. Tell us, were you a student in the schools?
I was a student in the schools.
And then what happens when people graduate? Sometimes they just get lost because there's nothing else for them to do.
What happens when people graduate is they get upset about having to leave their schools.
And so how do you make that transition? I know that transition is something.
How I made that transition is I became a teacher at Boswell.
Yes. And so you've been at Boswell, you knew the school.
I've been at Boswell and knew the school.
So our local Rotary Club helped to buy the djembe drums that you needed for that. And I know they're trying to start you off as a teacher's aide. How did that work? Were you able to help
How that worked
teacher?
is I was able to handle the teach.
So tell me kind of when you teach, what do
I
you do?
teach them trap.
Uh-huh. Now, just the mechanics of it, where do they store the drums in the classroom? Or
They store them in the gym.
Uh-huh. So part of what you do is you bring the drums in.
Part of what I bring them in is I have the kids sit down.
And then what do you tell them to do?
I tell them to introduce their names and spell their names, and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and right, left, and right, left, left, and right, left, and left, right, and do the color matching and do black, blue, green, red.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've taken the course because I've been trained as a trainer. It's hard, especially some of those patterns that you were smiling about. They are black, green, left, blue. What do I do now? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So, and then are you teaching anywhere else now?
I was teaching at Miners Oaks Elementary School last spring.
Uh-huh.
The school in Miners Oaks last spring. I'm not teaching anyone else right now, but Mr. Eddie's going to try to get me some more jobs at other schools.
Yes, well, I think that's what we're doing, and you're leading the way. You're the general in front of the armory because we want other people to learn from you, and so as they graduate, they can do things similar to yourself.
It can be really, really hard. Why is it really hard? Because it's hard to leave a school you like.
Uh-huh. Did you write a song about that?
I did.
How does that song go?
Boswell, help me out of my shell. I've got so many stories to tell. like the bus drivers for Durham School. services. Oh my gosh, John, are you telling them about the place where you live?
And you've performed that on stage, haven't you?
I performed that on stage. I performed that on stage.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to see you perform a little later on tonight. So, let's say.
Thank you guys.
I'm here with Ben's dad, Adam. He's kind enough to have a seat in Ben's chair there because Ben's a star. So the things that Eddie and we've been working on very hard in Ventura County is really at the end of school. That was the end, and planning for that. It's not easy as a parent to do that. How was school for you guys as Ben was going through school?
Well, we certainly had our ups and downs, and things went reasonably well until about the ninth grade, and then Ben started kind of going off the track, having a lot of behavior difficulties. So we tried a couple different programs, and one called Triton that's in Camarillo that's really was extremely helpful. And then when he aged out of high school, then he was in the I forgot what they call post-secondary part, which takes kids to the age 22. And so he did this at Boswell, Dorothy Boswell School in Ventura. And that was also really, really good. I mean, we certainly had our ups and downs. And then there was just this big drop-off after school was done. He really had nothing, we had things to do, but there was just this great disappointment in not having that routine that he had. And so we had to replace it with a new routine. And so he began taking some, basic classes at Ventura College. And then, Eddie had put the little seed in our brains about him possibly teaching Eddie's program to kids at various schools, and so last year he taught at Boswell, and then also at a school in Ojai, and Ben he likes being in the teacher's role. He really enjoys that a lot, and he. When he's in that role, he's completely alive and focused, and that's a great place to be. And so we've continued this year, and hope that Ben will continue and actually kind of expand the schools that he goes to, hoping to go to several each year.
Yeah, I think his comfort level is so much better. The school is very comfortable with him.
Absolutely,
keep it going.
And then, but it was as big or bigger a transition. Really, it was when he was all done with post-secondary. He just didn't see what the next step was, and now I think Ben more fully realizes what the next step is, and is a lot more comfortable in his skin. Yeah.
It was in your heart all the time. When you finally reach your destination, fall down on your knees and thank your Maker for all the wishes and the blessings on the journey to Miracle River.
Now, Michael, we've been having volunteers come up, kind of talking about how they get involved, and you see Eddie and spend a minute or two with him. How did you meet Eddie, and how did you get here?
Well, Eddie and I go way back. Most of the musicians that are doing this tonight, I go way back with a lot of them. Part of my wife's original band from Josephina's is on deck, and Actually, the whole band, there was only 3 of them at the time. But they we all played the clubs around LA for many years, and Santa Barbara too. We used to play up here before we all kind of went off in our own directions. Bill was always more or less a Bay Area guy, Bill Champlin. Mm-hmm. But then he came to LA and kind of made his mark in LA as a solo artist. And I was off with the Doobies for years, but I met Eddie before that, playing clubs and rehearsing out at the alley in the valley out there.
And then we get to be this time in our life when we want to give back. We want to take that time.
Well, it's a great it's a great program, and Ed has found a way to address what I think are some of the greatest needs for special needs kids is creative outlets. They barely get their basic needs met. We're not a society that seems to be as forthcoming, as generous as we should with people who need us the most. That's the real measure of a society. Is there's just certain things like addiction, special needs that seem to get swept under the rug or seem to get ignored. The human factor is really what makes us a society or breaks us as a society. And so this is one area that really could use our attention, and it takes people like Eddie who do great work in this area, in terms of the creative arts and giving special needs kids a chance to express themselves in theater, music, art of all forms. And so I really I look for any opportunity to participate in something like this.
I'm here with Suzette. Suzette, we were talking downstairs in the kitchen. So here we are at the Rhythmic Arts Project event, and I really want to know how you get to end up being a volunteer. And you were telling me a very fun story.
Well, I'm originally from Ventura, California, and I happened to come up to visit to see some musicians play at a club. Eddie Tuduri walked in the room, and I was mesmerized. I wanted to know who that man was and what he was all about. So I proceeded to strike up a conversation with him, and he told me all about the TRAP program, and I told him I would be willing to do anything I could to help.
So, but what keeps you coming? And besides being in love with Eddie, as everybody is. I was at Boswell School, we were just talking Boswell School, and there are all these teachers around, they're all in their 40s and 50s, and they go, who gets to go home with the drummer? And so Eddie just has that effect on women. I don't know what it is, but he's where his heart is something different. So how do you find that part of Eddie?
He just makes you feel so appreciated. He puts it out there, and he never gets rattled. He's very even-keeled and tells you exactly what he wants, and then he lets you run with it. So he also gives you the freedom to do your thing and bring it. So if someone's going to give me that opportunity, there isn't anybody I'd rather do it for than Eddie.
Listen, little bitty boy got a heart of steel. He can't boogie now, but his sister sure will. music in your soul. Gonna make your body rock and roll. Oh, oh. Hey, 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 rock your way. Come on. Used to be happy and sad. Something happened along the way. Yesterday was all that we had. And oh, after the love is gone, how could we leave the arms and not let me stay around? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Too far, you don't have to tell me why. Why you go? Why the game is through? Listen what's real, baby. Listen what's true.
Forgetting not in love anymore.
Yeah, baby. Oh.
One of the things that's very impressive to me is that we get new volunteers all the time. You and I met at dawn, picking up chafing dishes, because that's what Eddie does to us. So how did you get involved with Eddie? How did you get tagged?
I know. Eddie is such a wonder. I met Eddie 20 years ago, right after he had his accident. And I think Jimmy Messina actually introduced us. I was in his songwriting class a million years ago. And we met, and I've always kind of known him in the community. And I think I volunteered once, actually, when he was working with brain injuries. And that was, it felt so good. But I had a very busy life, so I always, wanted to do some work for Eddie. I like to volunteer in general, but I kept thinking, God, that would be what I really want to do.
And that's really what Eddie, every teacher he brings his program to adds something.
I see Eddie's work as, I know I'm not saying it exactly right, the way Eddie would like, but his ability and his method he has formulated to help people with intellectual disabilities, but really he's teaching them reading, writing, arithmetic, but the global thing, he's teaching people to connect and to feel alive and to feel their own aliveness and to feel safe with another. And so all the learning that goes on, I think it's, from what I can see, because I'm new and trying to figure it all out, is that, different people he works with have different things they're learning. And it doesn't really matter, because it's about the connection and the heart and the vitality that this work helps.
But we just had Ben on, who'd been through the program, and he is on this autism spectrum there, and he's doing an excellent job of teaching. So.
Well, I actually was his student. So Eddie invited me in when I said I might want to help in some way, and I got to be Ben's student with his mother. And that was so amazing. That was just so beautiful.
And that's what we're looking for in this life. It's more amazement.
Thank you. Lots of amazing.
What's a long way now, baby?
I'm here with David Palmer, who's been on our show before, talking about his arc of his career. But today, really, this is about how you're helping TRAP out.
Yeah.
Well,
I've known Eddie Tuduri for years and years. I've said that before, but when he said he was going to do this event, I come every year that he has an event like this, just to I can document it. And I've known Eddie for so long that it's like it's just a pleasure to do this.
And so when you try and capture things on stage, because you do, I have a couple of your romantic realism things, and there's just something different that how you capture it, the depth and so forth. What do you look for on stage here when?
With performances like this, with Michael and the people who are playing tonight, they're so animated. It's great. You know, it's just you don't have to do much. You just have to be there and document what they're doing.
There's singing from the heart.
And Michael's always been an incredible force. I mean, I knew him before he was Michael McDonald, you know, before he was Doobie Brothers, you know, and he was special and always has been. And Amy too. I've known Amy for years. So it's the musicians really come together, and his band are also here for a purpose. There's reasons to give back to the community and give back to Eddie.
Listen, if you need loving, baby, why don't you call me? Oh, brave, everybody. You need, baby, a little kissing, girl. You know you got to get up and call me, 'cause I'll be right here at home. Oh, all you got to do is pick up your telephone and dial. To live on shame. Well, if you love, we shout it, forgive me, can me. Come on, be there. Come on, be there. Whenever you go, come on, be there. Oh, yeah. Come on, be there.
And Maitland, you play an electric guitar.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so we'll see some of that. So we're going to take some footage of the concert. So you have incredible skills, and you play in the studio, and you're on the road some of the time.
Some of the time. It's starting to slow down at my age, but I try and keep my finger in as many pies as I can these days.
So how did you get to meet Eddie, and you got involved in this? It's in your heart somewhere.
Well, there was sort of a musical mafia in the valley back, 70s or in 80s, 90s, and Eddie was right at the center of it. He was playing with everybody, all nothing but top name acts, David Crosby, Stills and Nash. I can go on and on. I think about 5 or 6 years ago, I became one of the trappies, as we call ourselves, one of the Evolve parties, and it was a real pleasure and a real honor to be with him, and all the things that he was doing, and the players he was playing with, all the name people. It was just one incredible family that we all have now come to know and love. It just feels good, and I'm at a time in my life where I can do it, and I like the people that are involved with it. I like the fact of what we're doing, and it's a lot different from the way things were for us 20, 30 years ago. We were gone all the time. We had no family. We weren't. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but we weren't really living back then. Yeah. We were just packing our bags, leaving. This is good. What we're doing now is good. I mean, we get to play with our heroes every time. We get to have a wonderful family, and we're doing great things for the kids. So it's very easy.
Willie, thank you so much for coming. You've come a very long way. So where did you fly in from?
I flew in from La Ventana, Baja California Sur, Mexico.
So what in the world would bring someone all the way here?
Being drummers, both of us, and he told me about this particular thing that he was going to be doing, and he asked if I would sit behind him in case he had any difficulty with his hands or anything like that. And I said, I'd be happy to.
So this is drumming for your heart.
This is it. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know much about Eddie's program? Have you ever watched him do his thing?
He has told me about it. I mean, I've known Eddie for maybe 40 or 50 years, and as far back as I can remember, I remember him always putting something together, some kind of a benefit for UNICEF or something. Yeah.
Yes.
He's always done that. That's just Eddie, and so I've always known that about him and respected him for that. And aside from all that, we're friends.
Beckham and Zaid, Dion, Ben, and Ryan. How about it? So you guys can take a bow.
These guys are the stars of the show.
Paris. Adi? Yeah. Okay. Adi. Let's hear for Eddie. Okay.
Ventura, we have been moved. This is Get Moving. We've moved our hearts, moved our lips, moved our lungs, moved our hands. We have clapped our butts off. TRAP, the Rhythmic Arts Project, is all about sustaining care together, working together with children, adults, who are just to think differently. And we need to help and communicate with them. And through the Rhythmic Arts Project, we're doing so. So, Ventura, thank you so much for the night we've had tonight. And please donate, and let's keep this program going and spread throughout Ventura County. Thank you, and good night, Ventura. Get moving.
And you will see what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. Say what's going on, brothers. What's going on, sisters?